Welcome to the beach in front of our 700,000-gallon saltwater ocean at Biosphere 2. This ocean has an incredibly unique history. When it was first created, it was built as a Caribbean reef. So there was all kinds of coral species and invertebrates and fish from the Caribbean, just like you'd see if you go on vacation there. And they lived inside of this ocean for a good 8 years, survived and thrived all on their own. And then we had an experiment in here. We really were looking at how the increase of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere was affecting these coral reefs. We were starting to see coral health decrease around the world. And one of the hypotheses was it's due to the increase of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. So what they ended up doing was pumping CO2 into the system to watch how the corals reacted to that. When there's an increase of CO2 in the atmosphere, we see our oceans become more acidic. The pH drops, it gets lower. And corals are really unique organisms. They're animals that live in this mineral shell. It's a calcium carbonate shell that have a symbiotic relationship with a plant cell. So they're really cool species, and they have a really strong reaction to different stressors, like an acidic environment. So these corals ended up dying in this ocean, but it was an incredible feat for science. We were able to do this kind of experiment and find out what was going on in the natural world by using this ocean right behind me here. Now today, we're seeing our corals under stress, not just by carbon dioxide, but by temperature as well. We're seeing the temperature in our oceans increase all around the world, and corals are also susceptible to that increase of temperature. So now we're really focused on using this environment because we can manipulate the temperature, the nutrients, the wave motion in this ocean to really look at how are these corals reacting to this temperature. Is there something that we can do about it? Can we assist evolution and help these corals survive long term? So we've started this renovation of the system behind me. We've really started to re-engineer the system for this research. And we're starting to introduce some species into this ocean that will help us establish a community for these corals. I'm gonna go grab one of those species now. So this is a black long spine urchin. These are really cool animals. These guys love algae. We have a lot of algae growing in our system right now, which is pretty typical of a crashed coral reef. We tend to see a lot of algae bloom after corals die. So these guys are something that we're introducing into this system, along with hermit crabs and snails and other kinds of crabs and sea hares that are really good herbivores that will help us clean up this ocean in preparation for this coral research. So in order to do research in this environment, we need to be able to control and manipulate different variables. One of the ways we can manipulate variables in the system is this wave machine behind me. We can control how the water is moving in this system, how the nutrients are mixing, how much turbidity is in the system, just by that machine back there. We're also able to take measurements in the system. We want to make sure we know what's going on. So this instrument here is one that we're able to collect data on every 15 minutes that goes to a database. It collects things like salinity and temperature and pH, microbe levels, all kinds of things that are really essential for us to know about. They're things that if they were to change in a large way, we would need to know about them pretty readily. So we're just making sure to monitor them on a daily basis with this equipment here called a YSI. So the reason that we're really focused on corals and the coral research that's going on in here is because corals are incredibly important to every single person on this planet. We rely on corals for many things. We rely on corals for food, for the biodiversity in our oceans, for shoreline protection, for the economy of many places that are long coral reefs. So they're really important, and they're really important for us to protect. So this research project is an international initiative. We're working with people from all over the world to come up with a solution to the corals. Why are the corals, what can we do to help these corals survive? What can be done? And this tank is gonna help us get there. It's gonna help us answer some of those questions so that we can help be a part of saving the coral reefs.